Warning. The following are thoughts and opinions that belong to 4chan and Reddit. They do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge. This is for entertainment purposes only.
I think I'm haunted and I don't know what to do. There seems to be a ghost or spirit or something attached to me. It is changing the reality around me. Cigarettes are appearing out of seemingly nowhere. Shoes are being found in places that they weren't before. Lighters are showing up out of nowhere. It is interacting with my reality and changing things around me. I don't know how to get rid of it. It's driving me up the walls. I've been hospitalized because of it. Any ideas on how to get rid of it? I literally have to share this with someone. So, bit of background, we have lived in my house since I was 4 years old. I lived in the same bedroom up until I left for uni at 18, I'm now 23. Up until the age of 13 when my bedroom got renovated I never really felt anything too bad. Me and my mum are very spiritually open, we can feel spirits etc. I got a wardrobe fitted across the entire wall with sliding doors and that's when stuff started getting weird. In the middle of the night the doors started opening by themselves, but just a crack. I would make sure they were closed when I went to sleep as I felt something was watching me from that corner, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and it would be open again. I went through a phase of waking up with scratches on my arm. I would witness the doors opening by myself and started getting terrible nightmares to the point where I didn't want to be in that room anymore if I could help it. My mum got concerned and called in a medium and immediately she looked at my room and said there's something in there that does not like the fact I'm here. She proceeded to say the spirit hates women, hates me, has tried to hurt me further but my guardian angels have been protecting me, etc. But it would not leave. We tried everything and it got to a point where I just thought well I have to live with this thing so be it, and ended up getting used to it. Fast forward a few years and I left for uni. My little sister, she's 10 years younger than me, moved into the room and we never mentioned a thing as we didn't want to scare her, but she has witnessed her own paranormal activity so she is a very big believer in the other side. One day she texted me asking me who's the man in the wardrobe, and safe to say me and my mum shit ourselves. But weirdly she didn't care, she was quite fascinated by it and still is, which brings me to my post. My sister loves taking photos, and she's tried to catch this thing on camera for months. And before anyone says anything about Photoshop, she's 13 now and has never tried that sort of thing in her life. She sent me a photo tonight with the following message: I took a photo and was playing around with lighting and look what I caught. Immediately I see it. 2 eyes, a head, a nose, a neck. Peeking out at her. It looks inquisitive but I still don't like the vibe. The color is pink because she has LEDs in her room. I had to share it as it's the first time she's managed to fully catch something like this. Our house is a hub for paranormal activity and me and mum have seen our fair share of spirits to say the least, but never have we caught anything like that on camera before. What do you guys think? I know this sounds like complete and utter bollocks but I swear this is real. I have so many stories I could share about what I've encountered over the years. It's just happened and I have no idea what it was. I'm not sure how to start this. It is currently 3:15 a.m. This happened about 5 minutes ago. My boyfriend lives in a suburban neighborhood. There's an old church in his neighborhood we park at sometimes to look at stars. Tonight we were hearing weird noises starting around 2:55 to 3 o'clock, light bangs, dragging sounds. We heard a loud dragging noise then humming. Loud humming. Not a flat hum, a song. I don't recognize the song but it sounds similar to a slow hymn or nursery rhyme maybe. It was so loud that there's no way possible it could be a person. We looked around for someone but the street was empty. If it were just me that heard it I would think I was going insane. But he heard it too. I have seen and heard a lot of weird shit but that was something I've never heard before, especially not in the suburbs. We drove around the neighborhood to get away from it and the sound didn't follow. It was specifically in that area. We stopped at a stop sign after making a circle about 15 to 20 feet away from where we were parked, but we didn't hear anything at all. Does anyone have any idea of what it could possibly be? I've tried Google, can't find anything similar. We live in small town Appalachia. I might post in other subs to get more opinions. Edit, I forgot to mention that it was a female voice. I can kind of compare it to the tone Alison Krauss uses in Oh Brother Where Art Thou? Just happened. I've been obsessed with ghosts since elementary school. I've unfortunately never really had any memorable experiences. Well, today finally that all changed. Now, even though I believe, I also believe in being skeptical. I make sure to rule out everything before I jump to conclusions. Tonight I am certain. I've been doing a lot of witchcraft lately, so maybe it stirred something up. I'm sitting on the couch alone looking through a book. I have a lit cigarette in the ashtray on the coffee table in front of me. I feel some come from above almost hit me and land on the floor next to my feet. Takes me a minute to put it all together. The cigarette lifted in the air and was basically thrown at me. I'm sober. I'm wide awake. I was in shock. And this has to be the coolest thing that has ever happened to me. I love ghosts. Weird part is my pets were in the room and did not react. I thought animals always reacted to spirits no matter what. Now my stomach is still fluttering. Another thing. Why can't I feel them? And I was like, oh, I don't feel anything negative, so they are probably good. Then I realized I can't feel them at all, so how would I know? Thoughts? I seen one. It was a strange night. I had taken too much of something and it was all fun and games till it appeared for a smidge moment. The eyes of a snake. Very humanoid snake that can see through a dimension like people have been saying. Looked unimpressed, it scared the shit out of me. I couldn't lock eyes. For a smidge I saw this tapestry like writing and all I remember is I couldn't believe it. What I was reading. But then I forgot what I read after this chemical left my system, just unsure why I saw it. It was like a dimension mesh. I know it wasn't a mirror or nothing, it was looking at me through the wall. But as I said, it scared me, so I looked down. It didn't speak. Some strange lights moving around in room and that's it. I either have a psychosis issue or this stuff is real. I don't know about the government control stuff. That doesn't line up for me personally, but I have thought of the possibility before. My theory of what is happening is people who don't like me have their group of friends and extended acquaintances. Spread rumors and target me like school children. In my opinion, people are inherently childish and subconsciously revert back when they are enabled to. They wear the mask well, but it slips when they get to hurt you, as they did to their peers on the schoolyard. And sometimes a large group can forget seeing someone as an individual instead of an object or a target. When these two mesh, you get a group of individuals stalking or harming singular individual. The group says it's okay and the thing to do, therefore it's the correct course of action. Plus, if you question the group, there is a chance you are exiled and potentially the next target. So they stay and obey the group. Most likely steered by a few people with strong personalities who get satisfaction from control, bullying. This idea works on a larger scale. I mean, we do see it on a larger scale, especially in America, as well, but I just think this situation is smaller. People suck and it probably happens more than we all think. Simply hard to prove unless you have money. With Disclosure Day coming up, talking about is being hybrids, I had a theory. They say not everybody has a running dialogue in their mind. What if that running dialogue is not being created by you, but by an alien? A quote that always comes back to me from an abduction story I read, was when an alien communicated to the abductee that I am the me, inside you. Then it clicked that it could mean your thoughts, because you do not control your thoughts, but that is another topic. That would make people without internal dialogues the non-hybrids? Hello, I have a question. I have been hearing stories about people in my family from generations past and current about how some of us have paranormal type abilities, some see ghosts, others hear them, some claim to touch them. I heard one in particular that raised a few flags. One family member claims they can seal them away, not so much cast them to another plane of existence, heaven, hell, purgatory, but lock them up in their mind. I've never heard of anything like this. Has anyone else? Attacked by government. I was driving through Dodge City, Kansas in the middle of the night a few years ago. I was on the highway, and I noticed a parked tractor trailer that I was passing. I figured someone was just sleeping, but right when I passed them, they turned their lights on and took off as fast as they could. It surprised me and I thought there was a problem or something. It was confusing. But at the same time my GPS told me I could save 20 minutes on my trip if I get off the highway and basically cut diagonal through the middle of nowhere instead of going west and then south on the highway. With this tractor trailer hauling ass coming to run me off of the road, I decided to take the exit and save 20 minutes. Didn't think too much of it. Then, I'm driving down a long straight road, completely alone for maybe 30 minutes, when suddenly someone is flashing their high beams maybe a mile up ahead on the road. It looked like they were blocking the road at first, and I thought it was a police checkpoint. But as I got closer, I realized it was another tractor trailer, slowly driving towards me. I slowed down, but it didn't flash its high beams anymore or give me any more signals to stop. As I passed it, I realized there are about 5 more cars driving behind it, with their lights off. Maybe that was why I thought they were blocking the road at first, but now they were all lined up behind this tractor trailer with their lights off like they were hiding. About 30 seconds later, I see headlights in my rear view mirror, meaning one of them turned around to follow me, because I knew that there was no one else on the road the entire time. I drove as fast as I could to keep them far behind me, but stopped in Dodge City to get gas. The car following me pulled up and parked at the gas pump next to me, dark tinted windows, and never got out of the car. Then I see another tractor trailer with cars following it, then another, and another, and another. I begin to realize that someone was moving something in these trucks, and the cars were either escorting or protecting them. When I left the gas station, the car at the pump followed me. I was driving past what looked like huge cow farms, with every inch of their properties lit up with lights. There would be a car parked waiting for me to pass them, and when I did, the car behind me would pull off to stop and the car paired would pull out and follow me. They did this maybe 5 times. Then, finally, off to my right in the cornfield, there was a group of trucks parked in a circle with their headlights on, with a few people standing together. I thought that they were basically saying they were done following me, while also proving that they were indeed following me. But, a minute later, 2 drones were flying across the cornfield to my right, one was green and the other blue. At the moment I passed them, they were timed so perfectly to be right behind me at 80 miles per hour. Then, to my left, something flew by me maybe 40 feet high, and there were bright white flashes, that I can only describe as the flash on a camera, but they were 40 feet up in the air and very big. Flash, 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 it was fast. Then, in the left lane, I see what looked like a hologram of a military jet plane. I could see the cockpit, I could see what looked like missiles on the wings, flying right next to me as I was driving down the road. But it was almost invisible, like I could see it but I could see through it. Then it took off up into the air and disappeared. Then, I see what looks like a stick fly into a telephone pole and it looked like electrified streamers come out of the bottom of it. They moved like a snake, and were black in color but looked like purple electricity flowing through them. Then, the road ahead of me was blocked by a floating black rectangle. I could see its shadow. I stopped my truck, got out with my hands up, and said my name, where I was going, what I was doing, and that I didn't mean to cause any problems. As I'm standing there looking at this thing, someone slowly starts driving up from behind me. But, they stop maybe 50 yards away, stay there for a few seconds, then turn right and slowly drive away. I'm looking at them, while looking back and forth at the floating black rectangle, with my hands up, then I see the floating black rectangle disappear at the blink of an eye. Poof. Gone. I jump back in my truck and take off down the road. I thought maybe that was the end, but no. Next, there were like RC car-sized jet planes flying up next to me. Then there were other drones doing the same thing. Then, there was a flying pole. It was on my right, it was cylinder in shape, maybe 6 inches wide and maybe 6 feet long. It was flying parallel to my truck, but then it turned at a 45-degree angle, but kept flying straight. I tried to shake it by turning left and right, but every time I moved an inch, it did the same. It was in front of my right headlight, flying straight at 45 degrees, when it opened up and something came out of it and started zapping. I could hear it. Zzzzzzzt. My left temple and the back of my neck starts burning hot. My steering wheel was also burning hot, but only at the 10 o'clock spot on the wheel. I was screaming at this thing, it was zapping me, then it finished what it was doing and flew off. Then, a soda can shape and size orange light came flying next to my driver's side window. It was maybe 6 inches away from my face, then it went behind me and landed on the tailgate of my truck. Then, I felt and heard something land on the back of my truck. I opened the window once to look. What I saw was a trash can-shaped body, with a dome-shaped lid, with 2 octopus-like arms with bright orange lights at the end of each one. Its arms were flailing like the blow-up man in front of a car dealership, but they were moving like an octopus moves its arms. It scared me too much to keep looking or look again. So I shut the window and kept driving. But, I was going to run out of gas because I was driving so fast. So, I called my buddy and asked him to pick me up. I told him what was going on, he didn't believe me, but either way I was going to need him to pick me up because I was running out of gas. Then, literally as I'm running out of gas and my truck is stuttering, I see his headlights up ahead. My truck dies, he pulls up behind me. I hear him get out and say, "Come on man, what are you doing?" So I count to 3 and jump out of my truck. I start yelling, "What is that? What the fuck is that?" And he says, "There's nothing there, dude." That's when my mind was completely blown, so I just shut up and looked at this thing. The orange lights at the end of these long arms seemed to be its eyes, and it looked back at me. It was moving its eyes closer towards my face, to the point it was a foot in front of my face, when it vanished. Poof. Gone. My buddy thought I lost my mind. I was followed by people ever since. One example is a random man coming up to me asking, "Are you a secret agent?" and little games they play like that. Last night. I don't know if I should even be posting this, but something weird has been happening in my house the past 3 nights. It started with small things, like my bedroom door being slightly open when I'm sure I closed it. I live alone, so I brushed it off. But last night, around 2:47 a.m., I woke up to what sounded like someone walking slowly in my hallway. Not loud, just soft steps, like they didn't want me to hear. I stayed completely still, thinking maybe I was imagining it. Then my door creaked open wider. I couldn't see anything at first because my room was dark, but my phone lit up with a notification, and I swear for a second I saw something standing just outside my door. Not moving. Just there. I grabbed my phone to turn on the flashlight, but the footsteps stopped immediately. Silence. Too much silence. This morning I checked my hallway camera. The weird part is, it didn't record anything at that time. There's just a gap. Like those minutes never existed. I don't know what to think, but tonight I'm setting my phone to record while I sleep. If anything happens, I'll post it here. What's the craziest shit that's happened in your local area? I lived in Baltimore around the time the bridge went down. I drove across the bridge like 20 times a month at one point. I also arrived there about a month after the first Baltimore riots. That part of town had a bunch of burnt out buildings and empty businesses, etc. Also, since I was near the DC area, there would occasionally be political shootings. I was there when the senators got shot while playing softball or something that one time. Also, the Comet ping pong hard drive shooting. That area also has the highest concentration of foreign spies, so occasionally diplomats would be found dead from suicide in their hotel rooms. If those things ever made it to the local news, it was always brushed over very briefly. No one ever talked about any of these things in real life. It always seemed like a touchy subject for a lot of people, and you could tell people didn't want to talk about it if it was ever brought up. Kid in my school killed his mom and blew his dad's jaw off over taking Halo 3 away. I live in Limestone, Maine, the town where the first nuclear weapons were stored in the USA. No one knew they were there except those who worked on them or near them. Whole town in the dark. You can go walk in the bunkers now, and there are launch pads throughout the woods in the area. All used to be highest top secret. A bicyclist got run over by a big truck and got turned into an unspecified pile of meat. A meth lab exploded near my house once. It was scary AF. Happened like at midnight, so it was all quiet, then boom. A monk was found dead in the monastery nearby. He was pretty much boiled alive in a bathtub. A mysterious explosion accompanied by a fireball several minutes before in the middle of a July night. I wonder what caused it. Oh right, I did. Reposting the copy pasta I made on my phone so no detail is lost to memory, and also because I can't be bothered to rephrase things. Be me, mentally ill need. Been obsessed with Aztec god Colitl for months, have tried invoking him. Be on a midnight walk. Notice street light flicker, think it's funny because it's like a horror movie trope. Try to make it flicker more, concentrating on Colitl's power over electricity and Olin. Start thinking about how I'm under a power line and this could go wrong, stop after a bit with no success. Power line starts flickering right after I stop. Giggle because it's like Colitl is pranking me. Walk a little more. Notice an owl, could be another large brown bird, fly by a streetlight, headed east. Never seen that here before, try to take a picture but fail. Think about how owls have usually negative supernatural connotations across the Americas. Think about Mexican brujas. Walk 1 minute more. Hear 2 loud explosions, one right after another, see light on the trees. Seems to come from the east, where the owl went. Stand stunned, unsure of what to do or the cause. Wonder if this was gunfire and I should take cover. Wonder if I or Colitl caused the explosion. Cop car passes by, no sirens on, so it probably isn't gunfire. Decide to go home. Hear more explosions later. Check internet in the morning, can't find anything. Fast forward to yesterday. Decide to check internet again to see if there's anything new. Discover it's this whole mystery and an explosion was heard that night for miles. One person spotted a fireball in the sky over 10 minutes before. Colitl is a god of heavenly fire. But I experienced the explosions at significantly different times, and multiple rather than just one. I remember coming across a bunch of B-52 bits in the woods in Maine once. I'm from Chihuahua, Mexico, near Juarez, so shit was pretty wild from 2008-2011. Random executions in broad daylight, people dying from stray bullets, a lot of people getting hanged by the cartels publicly all around town, narcomantas. Sometimes classes because of the violence. Some days we had curfews because the cartels announced that they were gonna kill anyone who was in the street. I saw a guy who just had been shot dead on the street once. And also like 4 years ago someone dropped a cooler with a severed head near my house, LOL. Also there's a fuck ton of UFO sightings and other paranormal activity in my state. My theory is that part of the state of Chihuahua is in the zone of silence, paranormal hotspot, look it up. Also there were a couple of Mothman sightings in like 2010 that were widely known and made the newspaper. The Kaura breakout. In 1944, 1,000 Japanese POWs escaped from prison camp number 12 in Kaura, NSW. 231 prisoners died by gunfire or suicide. All were recaptured within 2 weeks. It was the largest prison escape of World War II. Kaura is a quaint little country town not too far from Bathurst. Personal story, but I'm in a small Midwestern town. The nearby area has a huge abandoned WW2 munitions factory set in the middle of the woods and fields. My dad took me there when I was around 12 to explore with me, really fun up until I saw a disembodied head float into a nearby large bush. Really scared me and I asked my dad to take me home not soon after. Also to note that it's slightly radioactive. Crazy lady at 5 a.m. stood not far from me, held her arms up for a minute, then undressed herself, nakedly jumped over all the train platforms and back, dressed again, ran off. Her pussy was hairy. Prison guards busted by the FBI bringing drugs into the prison. My first visit to DC, hotel lobby, new is reporting a racketeering ring of 13 cops, who were dealing drugs, and coercing dealers to deal on their behalf or else, you know, the cops would arrest then. 13 cops were charged with doing drugs. 13. That's a lot of people on general, but cops? My second thought was, the corruption gets worse the closer you get to the capital. What do you think, Baltimore Anon? Does corruption get worse closer to the capital? Seems so with the spies and political shootings. We had the Wok murder in town, where a Chinese psycho killed his boyfriend, cut him in pieces which he fried in a wok to get the evil spirits out. Some psychotic dickhead sliced the paws off multiple puppies. There's a house where I live, it's not like your typical haunted house all spooky or in a bad part of town. So the story goes, back in the 60s that a married couple lived there and everything was all well and good until the wife died of cancer or something. I actually did verify the people existed, later on at least, and the husband hanged himself like a week later. This part is interesting because it's actually half true, the husband did kill himself, but it was 2 years later and he shot himself. Thing is, people who live in that house still say it's haunted and that there's an apparition of a man with a noose around his neck who wanders around. Now I don't know if there's a prior suicide in the house, I didn't look into, but people see the ghost with the noose frequently. Around the early 2000s some woman claimed being possessed by the devil, some priests tried to exorcise her but in the end she killed herself. A couple of years later, her sister who moved into the now empty house was killed by her husband. Then in 2014 a kid drowned in the same house, and in 2019 or 2020 a guy was pursued and shot by a local gang. He died at the entrance of that very same house. At this point the place has become a local legend, and yes, there's people currently living in there right now, but I have no idea who they are. Kid who was acquitted of killing his parents wanted to go to my private school. School said no. A few years later he killed his brother and some other people. I live in Romania, Moldavian region, really no interesting place, but in 97 I have seen small drones, most of them not bigger than an A4 paper and have some exact design like an perfect triangle. May not be very explosive news, but back then was really something strange for most of people. And an story also boring told by my grandfather in 1935, he have seen night on sky a big star that movement was in zigzag. Perhaps it is not just one thing, but all these things happened over the course of 3 years in my street, where I live, specifically in my neighborhood. I think this place is cursed. Here are just a few examples. Neighbor number 1 suddenly became an alcoholic. His younger sister, aged 24, was diagnosed with cancer, and his grandmother fell down the stairs and died. His father turned out to be a priest and was transferred to another parish. Neighbor number 2 was diagnosed with schizophrenia and attacked his own sister with a knife. He was transferred to a psychiatric hospital where he died after that. Neighbor number 3 hanged himself at home. His body was found months later, long after it had begun to decay. Neighbor number 4, his 18-year-old daughter hanged herself. Neighbor number 5, 2 sons fell into drug addiction. They had finished university, perfect chads, an exemplary home, etc. And here's mine story. My mother kicked me out of the house, stayed with my brother and continues to make his life miserable to this day. My father ran away from home with another woman. I'm from Talcott, Chile. This place is like the Ohio meme from 2022, everything weird that happens in this country, happens here. The craziest that happened here was probably that Hitler supposedly lived here. Not in Villa La Angostura in Argentina, not in Paraguay. Here. Sources. A random newspaper. A guy threw himself into traffic, and I don't blame him. I don't think anyone blamed him. Life sucks ass here. Body chopped up in a suitcase and left in a field near the village I used to live in when I were a kid. Read about a story, in Colorado, where a man was murdering women, dismemberment them, and disposing of their bodies in various hotel dumpsters. Just a suitcase in hotel trash. Not a huge cause for alarm. Eventually someone found a suitcase and looked inside. Used to live by an old abandoned underground military bunker in the middle of nowhere people would party at. Well, when everyone was leaving one night, some crazy bastards somehow trapped a couple from leaving. I guess they did some horrible torture to the both of them before killing them. Alleged sick shit, gouging out the dude's eye and shoving it down the girl's throat, all kinds of depraved stuff. The government sealed it off with cement soon after. Everyone involved was young too, late teens early 20s. Thankfully the evil fucks got caught because they were bragging to other friends not at the bunker about the torture, and apparently one of their friends wasn't a total piece of shit and told the cops. Be me. High school 5th grade. Gooping around with my FR on the desk. He is sat next to the wall and starts knocking. Sounds empty, entire school is solid brick wall. What the fuck? We punch the wall. Briefcase with €1,000 inside. What the fuck? Don Corleone walks in and says, "These money are for my good friend Victor, don't touch them." Pulls out assault rifle and starts shooting. Ritual killing of 6 people at the cemetery. Ancient native burials every fucking where. Sugarcane plantation swallowing children. We had this old guy driving around on a tandem bicycle at night. By himself, that is. We used to hang out at this park on the weekend, just sitting on the swings and talking. This crazy old coot actually rolls in at 2 a.m. on his goddamn tandem bike and starts screaming at us. I didn't believe it was real until I actually saw him myself. What possesses a guy to do this shit? Pickrell Golden State Killer. Happened in my town. There is a weird amount of stuff related to him here. If you don't know, the count is 13 murders, 51 rapes, 120 burglaries. Man was a psycho. My state lacks the death sentence, but an exception absolutely should have been made for this absolute pile of shit. On a more positive note, the Doobie Brothers were from here, and I worked, he retired, but the name stays, for Tom Johnston's brother. Huge amount of history for that business. For example, it started before World War II and one have found employment records of all the employees being women because of the draft. I am from Statesboro and we went to Savannah very often. We did the tours, saw nothing. Walked around the haunted places at night and saw nothing. Maybe if you are from there, you have more experience. I think the hauntings is all marketing bullshit to make money off stupid tourists. It was good fun though. I moved away a while ago. I still miss River Street sweets and those absolutely heavenly pralines. Nothing like getting them fresh and hot. Vinnie Van Gogh's pizza was the best pizza in the South too. Absolutely gorgeous place to walk around and just chill. If anyone reading this is in the area and hasn't been to downtown Savannah, go and have a good time. My brother tried to sacrifice me to some pagan god when we were younger. He's a schizophrenic and went through a phase where he was reading books on stuff like that all the time. Didn't make the news, but was the talk of the town for a long time. I live in a small city in northwest Canada. We had a serial killer that got caught because he was pulling out of some forestry road at 2 a.m. in the middle of winter, and the cops went and checked and found a body. The other thing I can think of is near the same time it was revealed some people who kept shackled and tortured in a basement of a crack den. There's a rumor that our sheriff and or chief of police are covering up a murder. One time a man murdered his grandparents and threw pickles on their body. There was a manhunt for 2 days, and then his mother was found dead in her burned down apartment. The junior high coach was secretly recording the girls' changing room. One day our factory just blew up. Shad man hitting someone with a baseball bat and going to prison for it. Live in a very poor city, southern Mexico LOL. Drug cartels exist and do cartel stuff. A minor appears dead. Police find out the kid was killed by a fucking lion. This cartel used to feed people to it. It wasn't in the news for a long time, I don't know why. We live in an area with a lot of meth and fent addicts and have lived next to 2 meth labs, one still active and lined up like a McDonald's drive-through all day every day. We see some crazy stuff. Once saw a guy in a wheelchair come flying down the street doing maybe 30 with 2 trucks full of junkies chasing him yelling to never come back. He took a corner at that speed somehow and they hit the brakes to avoid overshooting it. I've been on my porch and witnessed, 3 times, fucked up people drive into my ditch and fence. A while back I sat and watched a woman rub dirt into her gums just on the meth lab neighbor's side of the property line. She did this for about an hour, then pee her pockets followed by her fucking panties with dirt. Her panties. I could go on and on. I go along a nearby river nearly every single dusk for about 4 hours. Usually I take a path off the main one, it's mostly used by people walking their dogs. For the last few months I have noticed some guy, mostly wearing black and sunglasses even in the middle of the night, however I usually do the same, walking the same path. At first I shrugged it off as a coincidence, however I see this guy nearly every single day. Once went out pretty early, probably around 6 a.m. for a walk and saw him. My mother and the priest that baptized me think that it's my guardian angel making sure I come home safely. I grew up in St. Augustine, Florida. The preserved historical sites there make it a hotbed for ghost activity, and it's frequently cited as the most haunted city in the US. Out of all of the historical sites, the lighthouse seems to be the epicenter of it all. Back in the 2000s, ghost hunters flocked to it, and the lighthouse even had a ghost hunting pass you could buy for some exorbitant fee, where you'd rent out the whole lighthouse for the night and get unrestricted access, except for the upper exterior platform, which was padlocked. The ghosts were apparently so active at night, that all you had to do was sit quietly at the base and you could overhear ghosts having conversations with each other on the upper flights. If you tried to talk to them, it wasn't uncommon for them to respond. In 2006, Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters both did episodes at the lighthouse, and you can see just how active the lighthouse was. From what I hear, the Ghost Adventures episode was comparatively tame for what the site had become known for. Regardless, when the episodes aired, it brought in a new wave of ghost tourism to the lighthouse. I was in school at the time, and the lighthouse ghosts were a constant topic of conversation. All of that changed when, over the span of 2007 to 2008, 3 separate tourists left from the top of the tower, killing all 3. 2 in broad daylight, the last one in the middle of the night. The story goes that the girl who jumped in the middle of the night was found in the morning, and the padlock was still secured to the top platform door from the inside. It didn't take long for the lighthouse committee to realize that the tourists all had one thing in common. They had been ghost hunting on the lighthouse grounds the night before. They promptly removed the overnight grounds rental pass and only recently posted guided overnight investigation passes back on their website. Taneytown, Maryland. Guy who lived a block away from the house I grew up in built a bomb. It went off in his house. Police chief was convicted on federal charges of illegally transferring machine guns. Local family with a construction business launders drug money through their company. Guy drove his truck through the front of the town office when they shut off his water. Lel. Friends and I explored an abandoned golf course in a neighboring city, found a fucking murder site in the basement of the clubhouse. Got beamed with weird, gray washing light by a UFO in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now I live near Ephrata, Pennsylvania. A local was digging up bodies and selling the remains on Facebook. I'm from the town where that one Daybell bitch and her boy toy killed her kids. Rexburg. Honestly, the whole place is basically proof that Mormonism is horseshit. Look up the Kaneko case. Basically a mother and daughter killed themselves because they thought they had sinned against God. And they did it through basically starving themselves, fasting to purify themselves. It got started because the daughter was sad a high school crush got married. She had had a previous vision that they were going to get married. There are stories like this, a dime a dozen, of just crazy religious zealotry. If you are even minimally spiritually attuned at all, you can feel how wrong everything is. The entire religion is a farce propped up by people who convince themselves of everything to save social face. It sounds retarded, but seeing demons and dark spirits hiding in the shadows of that town is what broke me out of edgelord atheism. When my mum was growing up, she had a friend whose dad was kind of strange. He was reclusive, a little violent. His wife left him one day for another man and he was left raising the daughter, mum's friend, alone in the 70s. Fast forward to 2005, the police break down the, now old, guy's door and take him to trial. Turns out he bashed his wife's face in and tied her body to some bricks and chucked her in a local lake. Apparently the body came to rest on a ledge just short of the deepest part of the lake. Another one, about 25 years ago the owner of a local Chinese restaurant got murdered with a meat cleaver in broad daylight outside of the restaurant by a disgruntled worker. A lot of people say it happened in front of a bus stop where a load of pensioners were waiting, and they saw it all. There's been a lot of murders where I live starting from about 2010. Before that I can't recall a single one. There was a span of about 6 months where 3 people were killed, by different people, not like a serial killer. It's starting to feel like this place was picked for an experiment because it seems too bizarre when you consider my area is less than half a square mile. The man who killed his wife because he believed she was possessed and he was a vampire. The kid who was tortured to death over a vague threat he made, I think that's what it was. The kid who killed his mother and her lesbian lover because they would laugh at him for not having a GF, then dismembered them and hid them in the shed. The serial rapist who lived 2 streets away from me. The other serial rapist who lived a street away from me in the opposite direction to the other one. The man who had his head blown off with a shotgun that no one was ever charged with because the only witness killed herself before she could give evidence. The student who stabbed his flatmate to death over a nothing argument. The group of kids who did a home invasion and stabbed a father and son. Father died. The guy I once considered a friend who stabbed his girlfriend 27 times when she had only been his girlfriend 2 days. That lunatic woman who was absolutely going to knife me to death if I hadn't startled her / been a coward. I've done a green text on it before, I won't bore anyone with it again. Honestly, the list goes on. It's starting to spook me going out there at night. Anime and manga authors. At near the end of Naruto we know there are these Otsutsuki beings who go to planets and suck the planet's chakra and live off it and make them stronger. In Yu-Gi-Oh there's some references to the Illuminati, I feel. So do you think the authors sell their souls, or are they forced to put that stuff there by the higher ups? Please explain this. So, a few days ago, I was watching YouTube, and I found this channel. Now, this channel was especially freaky because I can't remember it very well. It's like it was a dream, but it sticks in my head like it happened. I have no clue, but anyways, this channel had 2 videos on it. One titled, An Average Day in My Life, and another titled, I'm Still Here. And when I watched the first one, it was a normal list of a day, but when I watched the second one, the video was Minecraft gameplay in the background, as the audio said, I'm still with you, my full name. I can no longer find this channel, and I hope it was a dream, but please tell me what the fuck happened. Help. Hello everyone, for a few months now my family and I have been being gang-stalked. I've called a couple private investigators but they are outrageous. My personal things keep disappearing and reappearing. My girlfriend's laptop for instance disappeared for 3 days and magically reappeared where she thought she left it. People are driving by playing sounds of help from my mother and my son. I'll pick up the phone, call my son, everything's fine so he says. Recently they have been telling me how they are setting me up on various crimes. I know this sounds crazy but I searched the fucking Google, it's happening and getting worse and worse. I don't like this. In the dream I was the white phantom reptilian, or it was over me and I was inside of him. Before I woke up I saw in my mind's eye that my hand did a mudra on its own. I can't remember the sign clearly but it was my 2 hands connecting. They are back. Hello. So I had a break with my beings for like 7 months. Since September last year until maybe 2 weeks ago I couldn't connect with my beings. Orbs appearing, reacting to my thoughts, weird stuff in the sky. I have done a post on this subreddit a time ago cause I was so scared that I did something wrong, and a lot of stuff has happened in my head, a lot of doubt, a lot of everything that's questions yourself. Guess I just had to dig deeper into myself. I don't know. But they are back. Like stronger than ever. I just have to sit there and stargaze and it feels so easy to calm your mind and connect on a higher frequency before I even notice that I entered and calm state of mind. Beautiful big orbs appear and other stuff. This subreddit really helps me sometimes. Since there is no approved science on this subject and I can't hardly really talk about to anyone, I feel really understood here even though I don't post much stuff. I'm just curious what you guys think, why they went away and suddenly are just back again, popping up near the sky like they never left me. Sure, I know they are always there but I'm just curious. I don't know why. But I just feel like they surely don't have winter, summer, autumn and spring. Maybe autumn and winter is a time of reflection for them. And they appear again when the leaves start to turn green again. Thanks for everything. Hope you guys are well. Question. Hi all. I'm a student based in the UK doing a short series on communities/beliefs that are potentially misrepresented or misunderstood. I'd really love to speak to someone who believes in extraterrestrial life or has had experiences that connect to it, whether that's through spirituality, personal encounters, research, or something else. Ideally UK or London based, but open to written Q&A if you're further afield. Could also do a short video or meet in person if you're local and up for it. The aim is just to share an honest, open-minded look at what draws people to this world and what it actually means to them. All questions will be approved by you if you go ahead, and nothing will be published without your permission and consent. Please send me a DM me or comment below if you're interested or know anyone who would be. Thank you. Do you feel watched by them? Hi everyone. I am curious of those of you who are in contact with NHI, non-human intelligences, do you feel like you are being watched continuously, 24/7, or do your beings give you a break once in a while? Do you feel like you have no privacy? Question. Do humans transcend into reptilians by some sort of methods? Or reptilians are just entirely different species and humans cannot turn into one? I have gotten into reptilian lore recently, so would like to hear answers. I tried to communicate with an orb, and it responded. Please advise. Over the past year I've noticed what people here call blue orbs while looking at the night sky. Their movement seems irregular and doesn't match aircraft or satellite paths. I've checked both a few times. Recently, out of curiosity, I spoke out loud to one. I didn't do any meditation or preparation, I just said stop, and it seemed to stop. I then asked it to spin in a circle, which it appeared to do. I followed that by asking for a larger circle, and again it seemed to comply. When I tried a different instruction, go backwards, nothing happened. I went to get a friend so someone else could see it, but when we came back it wasn't reacting anymore and just looked like a normal star. My friend didn't see what I saw earlier, although we did both notice 3 similar blue orbs moving across the sky afterwards. None of those responded. I'm not really sure how to interpret this. I've only read a bit about CE5 and haven't tried anything formal. Has anyone experienced something like this, or is there a straightforward explanation I might be missing? It, here's something I was informed of. The issue with the demonic aspect is that our own government, became demonic decades ago. That's it? People from our own species engaged in demonic rituals to betray mankind and receive favors, tech, power, etc., in return. So, don't waste your time thinking about supernatural beings with magical powers. That is not the point. The core of the demonic issue is the behavior of those involved. Behavior that is treasonous and evil beyond redemption. I became aware of this when talking privately to a publicly known whistleblower who testified to the US Congress, and I won't identify this person in any way. I asked several times why couldn't the government simply grant amnesty for everyone involved, just so our species can turn this page and focus on the future, and the answer I got was this. Despite most of the people in the legacy program being fine, there are some who simply can't be forgiven, and must be dealt with to remove their treasonous demonic influence over our species. I asked a bunch of other questions to try to have a more detailed understanding of all this, but didn't get more answers. The person seemed to be too traumatized to talk about what happens in those rituals, and absolutely wouldn't mention any specific details about those involved, both human and non-human intelligence. The only thing that became clear is that there's a huge internal fight to bring some of those demonic people to justice, and that full disclosure won't happen without this. Also, this person mentioned that most NHs who visits Earth are fine and don't want to interact with us in any way. Kinda made me feel like Earth is a sort of tourist trap for NHIs. Anyway, at this point I prefer to watch disclosure happen from a distance. The internal fights of our own species does not interest me. It's a disgusting mess.
Let's go!
Are you a targeted individual? Have you had a paranormal encounter, or are the victim of an unregulated government experiment and would like to share your story with us? Would you like to send us some fan mail or a hate-filled rant? Do you have an idea for a future episode or wish to send a complaint to HR? Email us at atomicshamanSweatlodge@protonmail.com. Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Green Text Stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.